So strongest characters in the history of One Piece, not going by current standards. We'll talk about that in another video, but like throughout history, there's been some incredibly powerful characters, probably stronger than they are right now, or debatably, I guess. We'll go with Roger, right? Because he was like the big powerhouse before we started getting more in depth into the Void Century and stuff. Like he was extraordinarily powerful. I'm not saying he was the strongest. I know some people kind of conflate being the Pirate King with being like the #1 pound for pound strongest, which is not the case, right?
Yeah, that's not exactly the case. I mean, Roger was the strongest for his time, but there were characters who were just as strong, and we just don't know how to power scale them properly. I think a good example is Ryuma. Like Ryuma, the sword god, the previous world's strongest swordsman, Oda's baby in a way, because he created monsters in Ryuma well before One Piece even. And it's like, yeah, like how do we scale him? Like where does he fit in all this? And also, if he existed 400 years ago, like what did he do? Slay a dragon? Like that's it? Like we need more. I think we need some of these characters fleshed out more if we really want to like put them on a list. But either way, like thankfully we're not ranking them necessarily. We're just kind of talking about them, which is nice.
Yeah, ranking totally unnecessary because it's just,
yeah,
you know, a lot of these One Piece rankings that I've seen, it's like Dragon #1, and it's like, why? You know, because then we get into those. Yeah, why? What did he do? Like, I'm not saying that he's not one of the strongest. He is for sure, but that's just what I'm saying. Like, we just ranking unnecessary. We don't have a lot of empirical evidence, a lot of feats to justify these things. It's kind of just hype moments. Not even hype moments, hype lore.
He didn't have a hype moment, he just stands. we just give him the Luffy dad tax.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So Ryuma kind of up there. We don't know what the dragon was. I mean, I guess dragons existed. Just
we saw like the dragon OVA where like the dragon was like, I guess he looked scary and then Ryuma just one-shot him. But even then, it's like, it's not I doubt that's the biggest feat he has in his life, but that's the only thing we know him for. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, I would like to go more into like 400 years ago lore, which maybe they will. But Ryuma does have a black blade, so that's something. Strong guys have that, so he was strong.
So we're talking about like the strongest characters throughout the entire series, like not like our age, right?
Yeah, the timeline.
Shanks make it on the list?
I guess we'll talk about them in the current because you know, they're still around. They're still in their prime, I guess. But yeah, Roger, crazy powerful. Doesn't even seem like he had a devil fruit. He was kind of just using advanced Conqueror's Haki as like his main thing, like Divine Departure. Is that just like I guess it has to be like an advanced Conqueror Haki blast thing, because Shanks does it too. So it's an ability that you can learn, right?
Yeah, the way I see it right now is that it's a flying slash that utilizes Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we see Zoro do every now and then with like a Dragon Twister, or what Scopper did with his Yasuo Takeru, like just a flying slash, but Roger coded all of that in Conqueror's Haki. And that's why it's freaking crazy. Yeah,
I always wondered what that was, because Zoro used to call it some kind of pound phoenix, 100,000 pound phoenix or whatever. Like he was doing it way back in even Sky Island. Yeah, so I guess that's just what it is. You're adding advanced Conqueror Haki to it, which is awesome. I'm down with that. Yeah. And then we got to throw Whitebeard in there. And that's why I say Roger wasn't necessarily the strongest, because then you get prime guys like Prime Whitebeard, Prime Garp, Prime Garling, but we'll talk about Garling at another time. Whitebeard, a lot of people say he might have been the strongest at that point in that era, 40 years ago or whatever.
That's a tough one. Like, it seems like Whitebeard only got the world's strongest title after Roger died. That's headcanon because we don't know the timeline, right? But yeah, like I think if Roger were still alive, I'm hesitant to say that Whitebeard might not have had that title, and it might have just gone to Roger.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about like brute strength, then I think Whitebeard wins. But if we're talking about like strongest person or strongest human, then I think Roger might have taken that, which is crazy to say. Because like I said, I don't know if they're talking about like an arm wrestling contest or like, you know, who can lift more. Because I think Whitebeard would take it. But if we're talking about like pound for pound, the strongest like in a 1v1, I mean, I feel like Roger just has to win that, right?
I would put money on Roger if I had to bet. But I could see a lot of people making the argument for Whitebeard or even Garp. Can't forget about Rox. He was in that top tier of power, which, man, can't wait to see more about Rox, because I don't think he was a fraud. That's like a lingering theory.
No. It's been dying more and more as time's gone on.
The stock's been raising. on rocks.
Yeah. Which I gotta ask. So we're talking about the strongest characters throughout history. Do we include the gods like Sun God Nika, the weird karmic serpent we heard about, Emu, all them?
Yeah. We could go back 3,000 years because I guess that's like when all of this is implied to start, at least, or as far back as people go. I mean, I know Ohara was like the tree of knowledge was planted 5,000 years ago, but like 3,000 years ago, the implications right now are like when the One Piece story as we know it kind of started in a way, I guess. Maybe that was Nika's time when that big serpent thing, which may have been one of the gods, or one of those dragon things that may have been one of the gods. Those things are probably the strongest things to ever exist. I'm guessing they may have even been responsible for why we have devil fruits. I mean, again, people watching this, we don't know anything. We hardly know anything.
3,000 years ago. That's just a guess. Whew.
Yeah, that in itself. Mainly just going off of the right side of the mural on the Atom Tree that depicts history, the two phases. I'm just guessing that that's before the Void Century, right? It has to be, I don't know how long, maybe thousands of years, who knows, but just those big creatures that we see in it. It seems like those were real things that existed and they had some kind of power to them in some way that is like equal or greater than to like devil fruit and hockey power. Maybe. I'm just assuming that those things were probably the strongest things ever. Like they had to be so unfathomably powerful. And if Nika was among them, like the actual Nika person, then he had to be in that league of power as well.
Yeah, the OG Sun God, which I feel like when we get that 3,000, 5,000, whatever, how many years ago it was flashback, when we learned about what happened back then, I feel like we're gonna throw like the power scaling in the trash for a minute because, which isn't bad, by the way. It's not like a negative thing, but we're gonna see powers that do not make sense. Powers that I think would trump everything we've ever seen here on Earth. Because we're talking about like gods, right? Like actual, genuine Earth God, Sun God, like the progenitors of all these powers. I wouldn't be surprised if Earth is just like a plaything to them. It's weird to think about.
Yeah, because they're huge too. I mean, it looks like they're huge just from the perspective on the mural, but yeah, Earth very likely could just be like, maybe they're beyond that. Maybe they're cosmic in nature,
which would be nuts.
Yeah, I mean that.
Things have been getting bigger and bigger, like the sword on Elbeth, right? Like no giant can pick that up. It's bigger than the Atom Tree, or it's as big as the Atom Tree. So it's like, if that's how big we're getting 3,000, 5,000 years ago, then, I mean, what are we saying?
Yeah, and the skull on Onigashima. Did you say that you don't think that was a person or a being?
I don't think it was a person, because like, I feel like if that was a person, we would have seen like skull fragments or like bone, but it's so far it's just like rock.
Oh, I guess it is. I don't know. I just always assumed it was like an actual skull, but I guess maybe it's just a monument. But then again, the sword, like what's the sword?
Yeah, the sword doesn't make any sense. And then of course, like I'm sure you guys have seen theories where it's like, oh, the red line was created by the Earth God or the Forest God or something like that. And it's like, well, okay, cool, but that wraps around the entirety of the One Piece world. So that's a crazy attack. That's a crazy ability. Like the scale of everything, the farther we go back in One Piece history, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I wouldn't be surprised if like we meet, the Earth God, Sun God, or the Rain God, and we're talking about like Galactus-sized characters.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Galactus-size, not only physically, but also in scope of power. I'm not saying they're eating the Earth, but it could be close to that. How about the strongest thing that we have seen in the series currently so far? And that is, I don't even think this is opinion. I think this is objective. When Emeth undoes the knot and it releases Joy Boy's hockey, that has to be the strongest thing we've ever seen in the series, right?
Yes. That is by far the strongest thing we've seen in the series. And it's not even an attack necessarily. Like it's just like a booby trap. He just whipped it out and just used it like an Oblivion scroll. And that was it. Like, did Joy Boy even put his back into that one? Like we have no real idea. Like he just said, hey, Emeth, here you go. I use this when the time comes, and that's it. They just passed it out like it was candy.
Yeah, why isn't there more? Just make more of those knots. You can just go around and just solo Mary Schwa with those things.
Yeah, one per kingdom that was allied with Joy Boy.
Yeah.
To be fair, like I think every kingdom hated Joy Boy, but not every kingdom. I think 20 kingdoms didn't like him. So give him to like all the people who were on your side then.
Yeah, the Kozukis.
I think that's where like the straw hat theory comes in. I don't know if you've seen that, where they say, oh, the straw hat that Luffy has, you know, it could have been passed down from generations, and it's Joy Boy's hat. And if Luffy undoes the knot on that, it's game over. It's kind of a crazy theory, but
that's better than what I was thinking, because I just have no idea. I mean, yeah, it's passed down. I mean, that's the implication. But other than that, what is the significance of it? It has to have some kind of significance. So if it releases hockey or something that is used to start something or ignite something, that would be interesting. I could see that. But going back to the not being released, so powerful, it blew away all of the Gorosei, well, 4 of them, knocked them all away, and then reverted them to their human forms, and then somehow undid the Abyss, or sent them back to Mary Joie somehow, just forcibly. So that was just like his stored hockey from 800 years ago. Meaning that Joy Boy, at this point in time in the series, with just going off of what we've seen, no hype lore, he's the strongest character ever, right? And he made Emu sweat from just sensing his hockey being released.
Yes. Joy Boy's at number 1 for me right now. Which does make you wonder, like, how did Joy Boy lose? That's always been like a prominent question. Like, if he's this powerful, how did he lose? Because for Roger, right, 20 years ago, Oda had to give that guy damn cancer to kill him off. We had to write that dude off with cancer. So with Joy Boy, I wonder if there's gonna be another disease that plays a part, or if there was actually somebody who put him down. Emu could be the answer there. Like, oh yeah, Emu beat Joy Boy, but people are feeling really weird about that right now. Especially because, like you said, Emu was cowering in fear when he saw that hockey.
Yeah,
it could just be because, like, obviously, you know, your 900-year-old opponent is showing back up. But yeah, it's a tough one.
Given that he was that powerful, I assume it had to be some kind of Odin Kaido type of thing going on, to where there was some trickery, some shenanigans, using his altruistic nature against him, making him sacrifice himself for someone else. I assume that's what it has to be. I would be really surprised if it just comes down to Emu just beat him. Just clean, beat him down. That was it. It could happen, but I just think it's unlikely. I think there was some foul play that took advantage of his kindness, essentially.
I think right now, I don't think Emu versus Joy Boy was a 1v1. I think more than likely it was like 20v1, with the 20 kings and queens helping Emu. Because since Emu was like one of those, right? So I think it was just 20v1, like Jiraiya versus Pain. Like, I think that'd be a really cool shot. Like, Joy Boy died and you got like the 20 swords stabbed into his back all around.
Oh, that'd be sick. That would be a great panel.
I love that scene. Yeah, just 20 people all landing their strongest attacks on Joy Boy at the same time. Like, nah, he's not surviving that. Which is weird because, like, dude, a long time ago, it seemed like all the 20 kings and queens were boxers, man.
Yeah, they have like...
It seemed like they're all just fighting, man. Like, and then nowadays, yeah, like some of the kings and queens could fight, but not all of them. Like, look at King Seki from Leloucia. He couldn't fight. Look at King Neptune. He's out of his prime. He can't fight anymore. King Cobra was in a damn wheelchair. Wapol, I guess Wapol could fight, but I mean, he's not a great fighter.
No.
Like, I wish the kings and queens kept up their training regimens to this day. The potential they could have with that royal blood.
I know, tell me about it. I wish it was like that in real life, but that's besides the point. Anyway, guys, that's the strongest characters in history that we know of so far. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of who we missed, who you think is the strongest. What do you think about that stuff? Let me know. Check out Sai's channel. It'll be in the description. Peace out.
Peace out, guys.